Welcome back to CryptosRUs. I am George. We're all George. So, good morning, good afternoon. Hopefully, you guys all had a great Thanksgiving and Black Friday. I know one person, at least one person did, because there was a $1.5 billion purchase of Bitcoin. So, let's talk about that and let's talk about what's next for Bitcoin and crypto. So, welcome, guys. Like I said, hopefully everyone had a good few days of rest, good days of sleep, some shopping in the U.S. I know maybe Black Friday isn't a thing for people overseas, but, you know, Black Friday is the one day. I don't know about one day. Now, these days, Black Friday deals aren't as good as before, but there were still a lot of great savings the day after Thanksgiving, right? And it continues on into this weekend, and we have Cyber Monday on Monday. But yeah, online sales expected to hit a new record, 9 billion. This is exactly what Powell does not want to see. For people to spending money and driving, prices higher. But in the case of Black Friday, usually people are spending money because there are steep discounts. And it's not just, I guess it's not just the US. It looks like UK also has Black Friday as well. So, I don't know how many other countries do celebrate or has Black Friday, but it does seem like this Black Friday is going to be pretty darn good. But of course, people are also buying Bitcoin. So this is actually pretty darn big. In the last 2 days, $1.5 billion worth of Bitcoin, okay, approximately 50,000 were withdrawn from Coinbase. Now, you may be thinking, well, that doesn't actually mean that anyone bought it. Maybe they just withdrew, right? But here's the thing. This is what backs it up. So you could see throughout this year, there has been massive amounts of Bitcoin leaving Coinbase. And I'll show you one on overall exchanges. But of course, if you zoom in on the right side, you see around the October-November frame, well, that's when FTX collapse happened. And you had a ton of Bitcoin coming out of exchanges. That's okay. But afterwards, you see a little green there. That means the withdrawal stopped. People that wanted to withdraw pretty much has done it. And then boom. Now you have massive Bitcoin leaving Coinbase. So that means probably, we have seen times like this before where you just get a few massive spikes out. So bottom line is, I do think a lot of it, if not all of it, was due to just some Black Friday buying. Some institution wanted to stock up while prices are cheap. It's really that simple. And if you look at not just Coinbase, but if you look at the overall landscape, you look at all the exchanges, well, one common theme is pretty easy to identify, and that is there are a lot more Bitcoins leaving exchanges right now than going in. And that is why the number of Bitcoins overall are decreasing. The circulating supply is decreasing, and that is what we want. We want to see Bitcoin leave the exchanges by the billions. Okay, look at this. 180,000 approximately Bitcoins have been withdrawn just within the last 30 days alone. That's fantastic. That's what we want to see. The more people that buy and take Bitcoin off the exchanges, the better it is. There's less supply, and as the demand keeps increasing, well, you know what that's going to do with the price, right? And that is why even someone like, I have not talked about Fundstrat manager Thomas Lee in a long time. This guy was making the rounds on CNBC back in 2017, and he was very bullish on Bitcoin. And he kind of stopped showing up because we went to crypto winter, but he's still staying with his prediction of 200K. He's like, every cycle we have up and downs, right? Up and downs, but Bitcoin always recovers and comes back up. And he also says, well, FTX is not so bad, even though, yes, it did collapse, right? But he also thinks that's cleansing out the bad players from the industry. So it's not just Thomas Lee, but also Cathie Wood and Tim Draper and Michael Saylor and Mike Novogratz. I mean, the list goes on and on and on and on. So Bitcoin holders not going anywhere. And that is why the addresses holding at least one Bitcoin continues to go up. I show this often, like maybe once every week or once every 2 weeks. But you could see there's no coming down. The number of addresses going up just continues to go up. There's no dips at all. Right now, it's a parabolic rise. What does that show you? People are buying. There's massive amount of institutional buying. There's also whale buying, and there's retail buying too. All fantastic things. Fantastic things. And also, here's a reversal chart. A lot of these are getting cut off on my camera, but here's a reversal chart of what we could look forward to when Bitcoin does start coming up. And every single time, it's a tremendous, tremendous uprise, right? Way more than the downtrend, right? And that is what we have to look forward to in the near future. So this is why I tell you guys, stay strong, stay focused, and continue to HODL and DCA. All right, so there's that. Outside of Bitcoin, anything else going on right now? Well, apparently Alameda, there's still some bad news about FTX and Alameda, but apparently Alameda Research withdrew $204 million from the U.S. FTX branch, FTX.US, before bankruptcy filing. So obviously not a good look. I don't know how much FTX.US is in a hole, but if it's in a hole for $204 million, well, this is the reason why, right? So it seems like there's more reports about how Alameda was kind of like a in-between, a middleman between FTX.US and FTX.com. And they were trying to shift money around right at the last minute. And unfortunately, this is all coming out now and looking really, really, really bad. Also, people start investigating. I think this was already released, but people are still circulating that Alameda Research holds about 13% of all Solana in circulation. Now, the good thing is most of it is locked. So they can't really withdraw even if they wanted to. And plus, FTX, the creditors now own this, not SBF or Caroline or Gary or anyone else, right? So the good thing is most of it is locked. The bad thing is, yeah, there's still a tremendous amount of Solana being held by Alameda, which will probably get sold off in a, some kind of auction later on. And who knows if, I don't know who else is going to get it, or it's going to be returned once it's unlocked. We don't know at this point. Now, the rival Binance recently, just yesterday, released their proof of reserves. And then Kraken CEO Jesse says it's pointless because he believes that they didn't include client liabilities, which is missing. Which is kind of weird. I would say the liabilities of Binance should be added in, but not client liability. He was saying that the client liability should also be in there. But basically, he's trying to say that Kraken's proof of reserve is better than Binance's, right? So CZ, of course, is going to respond to that. And it looks like he's working on something better, right? So kind of weird. I don't know why. He said it in a very negative way, right? I don't know why Jesse had to do that. He could have just called it out in a nice way, but he wanted to call out CZ for some reason. But anyways, and speaking of Binance, Binance is delisting Serum trading pairs because of Serum and FTX is also very tied together. FTX does have a tremendous amount of Serum, which Serum was voting to fork and get rid of the holdings by FTX, something like that. But Serum's not looking too good. One of the biggest DeFi projects in Solana. And Binance is going to terminate 3 trading pairs in a couple of days. So just to let you guys know. Outside of these two, what else is there? I mean, a lot of you guys have been getting involved with self-custody wallets, right? Learning how to, utilize a new wallet off of the exchanges, utilizing the recovery phrase, right? Making sure that you know what you're doing. A lot of people has been picking up Ledgers, and Ledger is introducing a new debit card. Interesting in Europe and UK, because a lot of people have asked me, hey, once you have it on Ledger, what do you do, right? It's harder to make swaps or trades. It's a little bit harder, yes, but now Ledger realizes, well, maybe some people want to buy things with their crypto. I don't think this is the right time for it, but maybe some people do. So they're rolling out a debit card so you could transfer your crypto into the debit card and spend it whenever you want. So they're just adding more functionality now. Probably not so relevant now, but in the future, maybe if people really want to spend their crypto, why not? Why not? So there's that. Also, Ape Coin, seems like there's some controversy with Ape Coin. If you're in the US, you can't stake your Ape Coin because of regulations. I guess they're scared that if you're in the US and Canada, that maybe this is going to make it seem like there's security or something like that, right? So they are geo-blocking people from officially staking if you're in the US and Canada. So a little controversy, but outside of that, ApeCoin is actually going up pretty majorly today because of this news. Because of staking, not because of this bad news. And then lastly, some Elon news. So apparently there's been some talk about how maybe Google and Apple boot or remove Twitter from their app stores. And if that's the case, then you won't be able to download Twitter, right? So Elon says that, hey, if that happens, he will come out with his own phone. I don't know how successful that's going to be. Maybe because it's a Tesla phone. Maybe. It's been highly rumored. But hopefully that doesn't happen. Hopefully that doesn't happen. All right. Outside of those things, that's pretty much it. Today, you know what? Today is a 16.5. I mean, it's still holding relatively well. We got a little boost from our bottom here, right? Overall, crypto is hanging in there about 839 billion. Again, off from our bottom. So those are good things. You know what? I did start testing out a new indicator. A lot of you guys probably heard of Lux Algo. So I've been talking with one of the co-founders. He's like, yeah, you know what? You should try our algorithm or try our new indicator. So here it is. So I'm going to start showing this in the future. But what this is looking at is kind of like some of the resistances and supports of Bitcoin on a shorter time frame, and looking at some of the order book, or at least the order books, how much of it is buy versus sell, and how significant is each level, right? And right now we're definitely in the most, the heaviest volume, I guess. So this is definitely a major resistance support. But the next one up, 16.6, we were there. This is on a very, very, very small time frame. Very small time frame. I know it's we've been going sideways for a little bit, but once it starts moving, I think this is going to be more significant. But right now, this is where we are, just kind of hovering around the 16.5 mark, 16.6 mark. We really need a push to drive us higher to the 18, 19, and 20, because we were just there, just a few weeks ago before this whole FTX thing. All right, that's it. Let's do some Q&A. Ooh. I see some people tuning in late. That's okay. Everyone's probably waking up late today or still shopping. Let's see here. Did I miss any money? Free money, someone says. Let's see. Black Friday in Germany. It's surprising how many countries have Black Friday, considering the lack of Thanksgiving. So I guess it's just a thing. It's just a shopping thing that all retailers have, I guess. Let's see. Doesn't that reduce liquidity? Yes, you want to reduce liquidity. That's what we want. Let's see. What else? I'm just scrolling down here. I'm putting 50% of my salary in crypto. I've also cleaned out one of my checking accounts to buy when there's more dips. That's a lot. That is a lot. As long as you can afford it, remember, never invest more than what you could afford to lose. Never, ever. Right? So as long as you still have enough to pay your bills and your mortgage and your car payments and you're not going to be affected, then great. But don't go overboard, because many people have, and then puts them into a deeper hole. Jose, appreciate that. Appreciate your support. Let's see. Bear market is so annoying. It is. But just think about it this way. It gives you plenty of time to be accumulating. And when things come back up, that's when you'll be very, very joyous and cheerful. And you'll look back and realize that you made all the right moves before. What's your perspective on BTC's trajectory for the next 6 months? Here's the thing. I think what's going to happen is this. I'm going to zoom out a little bit here. All right. So we've been, you can see this overall trend line, right? We've been hovering with that and been basically forming this downtrend. Now, a lot of it is due to macro conditions, due to the Fed, what they've been doing with, the rate hikes, and, overall global markets have not been doing well. So it's not just the Fed, but central banks around the world tightening up, increasing rates, trying to battle with inflation, right? So all these things have not been good. Obviously, supply chain issues, the war, all this stuff is not good. But at least in the U.S., it's looking like it's starting to turn a little bit. Okay, and that is positive. That is positive. So I think within the next 6 months, we'll see slow and steady growth back. Okay. To how high, I don't know. We'll see how good December is. December could be tremendous. I'm still clinging on hope that December could be absolutely tremendous. And when I say tremendous, it could push Bitcoin easily above 20,000 again. And if that happens, and then the next 5 months going after that could definitely build upon that and get Bitcoin back to 30,000. That's what I'm thinking. And why do I think December is going to be fantastic? Well, December traditionally is good for stocks. But also, speaking of the rate hikes, FOMC meeting, the next one is going to be December 14th. I do think in the U.S. at least, we're going to see a boost from that because Powell and the Board of Governors is going to do a 50 basis point increase rather than 75 basis points. They're going to come out and say, hey, we don't want to overdo it. Things are improving, right? So we're going to slow it down. And that's going to carry into 2023. Now, other countries so far does not seem like it's going to be that early. The inflation is still going up. The banks are still raising their rates. I don't think they're going to taper out anytime until like maybe the second half of 2023. But in the U.S., I do see that. And I do think with the U.S. markets improving, it's going to help crypto. And it's going to bring a lot of money back in. I do think right now there's just so much money. There's so much money sitting on the sidelines. And they're all waiting. They're itching to come in. Everyone is kind of waiting for that reversal so they can buy back in. They want that confirmation, right? And once they get it, I do think that we're going to see a tremendous amount of money come back in. So I think the next 6 months, I say best case scenario. will probably be around 30,000. Worst case scenario, in 6 months, we're still hovering around right now. But I honestly think it won't be like that. It'll be somewhere in between. Somewhere in between. That's my thought. So you look at, like, if you're looking at on a bigger scale, right? I already drew out some of these previous resistance / support. So we have a lot, right? We have one right around 24,000, one at 31,000, and then the one above it, there's like a 52,000. But according to this, there's another one here around 40,000, right? So we got a lot of these support resistances that we have to break. But you know, the one that we were just there, right? The 21.5, and then we had one right around here, around 22, and then here's one 24. We were on our way until the FTX collapsed. So as long as we don't have any more collapse, we could see, look at that big gap right there. That's a big, big gap. Anyways. Yeah, that's what I think. Alec, I had some TikTok crypto dude shitting on Ledger last night talking about their hack. I think he was referring to that they had emails hacked from their server. That happened a year ago or so, but that did not affect anyone other than people that fell for malicious emails that followed. But that happens with everyone. Treasure had that happen too, right? So basically, keep in mind, none of these wallet makers will ever email you saying that, oh, you need to change your password or there's an emergency update that you need to update, right? All these emails are malware or phishing emails that want you to, you know, basically download some kind of virus or something like that. Don't fall for those things. All CME gaps filled. No one ever talks about CME gaps anymore because it's kind of like irrelevant. No one keeps track of it, and it's been pretty much irrelevant for a long time now. There was a phenomenon how like CME futures affected Bitcoin and how certain things had to hit, but yeah, we have not been looking at that for years now. I know that based on all this Elon news with Twitter and stuff, Dogecoin started coming up again yesterday. Obviously, Dogecoin really dependent on Elon right now, right? Everyone's wondering what is he going to do. We'll see. I finally got FSD beta on my Tesla, and I've been messing around with it the last few days. And I would say, you know, for local driving, it's about 90%. It's pretty good. But it gets confused whenever there's, you know, construction or the lines are not drawn well or roundabouts, speed bumps, big problem in neighborhoods. It doesn't know how to stop. But outside of those things, it's pretty good. But it's not complete. We'll see. We'll see if FSD actually does get better this next year with all the data they're accumulating. Thoughts on Ferrari Puro Sangue? It looks good. And it's probably the last natural aspirated Ferrari there will ever be. But I hear demand is quite high, and you have to be hand-selected by Ferrari for that because too many people bought SF90s and resold them, so they don't want the same to happen with the Puro Sangue. Elon needs to bring out a Roadster soon. Yeah, that's the last car he'll bring out. He's supposed to be bringing out the Semi by the end of this year. And then the Cybertruck's next year. I mean, so many people are looking for a Cybertruck. He needs to get that out ASAP. Happy Sunday, DZO. Be careful of self-driving. Yes, self-driving still requires you to have your hands on the wheel and pay attention. It's really nerve-wracking to have the car kind of drive by itself. Yeah, it's not something that you're very comfortable with. Anyone following the World Cup? Because I'm not. I have no idea what's going on. I don't know which teams are good. But hopefully you guys are enjoying it. Big drop on the DXY. DXY going down is a major thing that I've been looking at. And I think a lot of you guys are. 106, you know, as the DXY continues to go down, it's going to have a major effect. You can see pretty significant drop from our 114s, right? But if we zoom out, it's still way too high. We need to get back to, like, you know, down to the 90s, which could happen, But we need some of the other currencies around the world to get stronger. We need a euro to get stronger, the Japanese yen to get stronger. We need a lot of these, the British pound or sterling to get stronger. And also this will naturally go down too over time as long as we get some good economic data. So MTB says DXY going down, which is why I've been buying. Great. Argentina versus Mexico in 40 minutes. Okay. Not in the mood to watch a nothing game. Okay. You know what? S1 asked, maybe the stock market is starting to follow BD's cycle. I've been noticing that. I've been telling my wife that too. That since Bitcoin is 24/7, whenever at night you start seeing Bitcoin make moves, that's usually a good indicator of what the U.S. market is going to do the next day. So there's been times where basically Bitcoin started going up even though the futures were still showing red, and then all of a sudden when it opens, the bell rings, you know, the U.S. market starts going up. I think Bitcoin is actually a good forecast of what the U.S. market is going to do. Before it was vice versa, right? But now it's kind of like you look at what Bitcoin is doing, then you can kind of predict what the U.S. market is going to do. I would buy a Tesla phone immediately. Well, it may seem like that's a good idea, but all your favorite apps, I don't know. That means Tesla has to come out with their own app store and has to get all the dApp makers to produce their dApps on another phone. I mean, you can produce a phone pretty easily. It'll be running some version of Android, right? But can you get the dApps to come aboard if you're not going to be using the Google Play Store? So that's going to be difficult. But we'll see. Maybe he integrates a crypto wallet and makes Doge the official currency within that dApp store. You know, I don't know. You know, people are still speculating what's going to be done with Doge. I mean, Doge is came up pretty good within the last 60 days, even yesterday. One of the standouts. BNB is also doing good. Green across the border. Got to give some props to Litecoin, which has been doing pretty good the last 60 days. What else? Toncoin, OKB, Huobi, a lot of exchanges. I don't know why a lot of exchange tokens are going up. Makes no sense. Like Huobi going up makes 0 sense. I would stay far, far away from that. Trust Wallet has been going up. I can understand that, but you can't do anything with the Trust Wallet tokens. I don't even know why it's going up. Makes no sense either. Anything else? 30 days. 60 days. No. Everything else been kind of trailing in the last 60 days. Out of all the exchange tokens, the only one that I truly believe in and hold is BNB. All the other ones at this point, it's just you just don't know. Fed pivot soon. Corey, I do think we're not going to see a complete pivot, but I do think the December one, we will see more dovish stance. You know, pivot, I think the actual interpretation of a pivot is you're going from raising rates to cutting rates, right? That's a complete pivot, but in the sense of just slowing down the aggressiveness, I don't know if that's considered a pivot too, but I think we're going to see that. We've done too many 75 basis points already, so I think December's going to be 50. I think that's kind of where everyone else is thinking right now, and I think once that happens, leading into the next one in January, which could be another 50 or maybe even 25. It depends on the data that comes out in December measuring inflation of November. If that continues to show that we're slowing down or inflation, in fact, is reversing. I don't know if you guys have paid attention. Gas prices have come down significantly. Yesterday, I just passed by a gas station around my area. It's $3.65. Just last week, I think it was like still $4, and you know, gas price has been coming down crazily. So that's good. Joshua, man, I think you're spreading. I think you're spreading not FUD but lies. CZ did not buy 2.3 trillion supply of Luna Classic. They held Luna. So yes, they do have it, but they didn't buy any more. I'm older than you, Joshua. Let's just put it that way. Historically, markets had huge crashes up to 50% after Fed pivoted. What do you think will happen this time? I think you're talking about a different kind of pivot. I think you're talking about pivot when they go from dovish to hawkish. Not hawkish to dovish, because that doesn't make any sense at all. We had huge crashes already based on the Fed being very hawkish, not dovish. So I think when we do get dovish rates, dovish forecast, it's going to be good for markets. Would you hold majority of cash until lower price around April? If you think so, you should always hold on cash. But if you think so, then go ahead. But you never know. You never know there's going to be lower prices in April, and you would have missed out on some juicy low prices right now if you think that way. I don't know. You may be right, Or maybe you're wrong and we'll be at 20,000 in April, and then you would have missed out on a lot, right? That's why I say, you know, when it comes to that, just a lot of people guessing. The best way is to take guessing out. Just stick with the schedule. Buy a little bit every week, every 2 weeks, every month. Just buy a little bit, DCA, and that's how you take the guessing out. Do you think Cardano brings stablecoins into the ecosystem and increase adoption? Well, let's just say it can't hurt. It could definitely help the DeFi ecosystem. I don't think it's going to hurt it at all. Whether or not it's going to cause a tremendous amount of people to come in and start buying ADA using ADA dApps, I don't think that's going to happen. But it won't hurt. It won't hurt. I don't have thoughts on Ren. All right, guys. I'll let you go. And overall, today, pretty quiet day. But massive amount of Black Friday purchases, including Bitcoin. And whenever we see massive amount of Bitcoin removed from the exchanges, that's a win. And we're seeing a lot of that recently, including the last 2 days. So that's fantastic. So stay strong, my friends. Let's see how the market is this coming week. So tune in tomorrow, 8:15 a.m. Central Standard Time. I'll also have a weekly recap video for you guys this afternoon or tonight. All right, and I'll see you guys later. Have a good one, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.